Okay, so I just filmed this video, and just as I was going to edit it and upload it, I realized maybe it came off a bit arrogant. I hope it didn't. And I think any of you that have watched me and know me uh, wouldn't think that. But I do want to give a little context. When I say that I've worked on self love and that, I've done a lot of work on myself and whatever, I've talked about sexual abuse and rape and those kind of things. And I don't know that I've mentioned I was a self harmer. I've been in abusive relationships, the whole nine, just like anybody else. I have a story, but I did work really hard over the past 20 years. I would say at least the past 15 years to get to where I am. So I'm not making light of self love or the self love journey. I just, like I said, felt really called to come at it from a different perspective. So, I mean, no disrespect, and you guys will know what I'm talking about in just a minute when I get to the rest of the video. What's up, Magical Misfits? Drew here, and as we speak in this very moment, as I talk to you, I am in preparations for Hurricane Florence. For those who don't know, I live on the very southern eastern coast of North Carolina. So we are hunkering down. We've gathered our supplies. We've cleaned up all of our yard bits, and we are just waiting to see what happens. So keep us in your thoughts. I also have to say thank you to 3 witchy sisters here on YouTube. That would be Raquel from the Barefoot Taurus, Erica from Raw Spirit, and Diana from LadyLusea. Thank you. These 3 beautiful women came together. I believe they did it through Skype and actually did a spell together for the safety of myself and my family. And I'm extremely grateful. It was very sweet. And I mean, how cool is that? I don't even know. That's awesome. So thank you. All right, let's get on to the video. Here it is, September 12th, and I am just figuring out what I am going to do for myself for Self-Love September. It's kind of me working in the macrocosm because I think it's necessary for within myself, but also in the hopes that somehow it will sort of seep out into the macrocosm. And that's why I'm sharing. I want to talk about ego. I have seen so much ego flying around in our community lately, and maybe it's always been there and I just didn't notice, but I just feel like it's really amplified right now for some reason from my experience. And now I am pointing this finger out at everyone else in the community, but I am squarely pointing it at myself too. I am guilty of this. I get caught up in it just as easily. As a matter of fact, I just made a video not that long ago where I was totally caught in my ego. Y'all know what I'm talking about. There are all these videos going around over the past few months about, like right now, everybody's talking about this witchy aesthetic thing, and I just did a video not that long on that as well. And there's many angles to hit that from, and there's witchy consumerism and many angles to hit that from. What I just did the video with the cultural appropriation and many angles to hit that from. But from where I sit, this all stems from ego. It is all one person sitting in their ego and judgment of another, and then other people sitting in their ego and feeling judged and reacting. There's all this ego coming into play. When we are reacting from a place outside of ego, beyond ego, there is no judgment. There is no anger, there's no hostility. There's not going to be any of that because we will be looking at things from a higher perspective. And I don't know, when I listen to all of these videos that are being made and all these things, reading these articles, seeing these posts, things like that, I think that a lot of good points are made. And I definitely think that they are things that should be discussed and talked about. But there are some voices, and I would say that they are the smaller voices, or they're loud voices, but I would say that their number is fewer. I would say the majority of the time when I hear things, it is of a more open viewpoint, or it is of someone reacting from ego, feeling judged because they're in this category that these few voices have yelled about. I hope I'm making sense, guys. I feel like there's so much judgment in this world for us outside of our community. There are people where I live who would legitimately think that I'm a Satan worshiper who sacrifices babies, bathes in blood, like right around, all around me, all day, every day, because of where I live. And my path is one, it's a complicated one. It's not all witchcraft. There's more to it than that. But for me, my craft is an expression of my spirituality. Not that you have to be spiritual to practice the craft. And of course, neither is wrong. People are people, and we're going to react how we react. And again, if we're in a place of ego, it's definitely going to be from a small place. But I want to believe that my community is one of inclusivity. And if it's not, that's what I want to strive to create. My path is one of self-mastery. I haven't gotten there, but I hope to. And so for this Self-Love September, the thing I'm really going to work on is loving my ego, is understanding that it's part of me, but trying to transcend it, trying to rise above the judgments that I may have. And more importantly, most importantly, whenever I feel like I am under an umbrella of judgment coming from someone, particularly within this community, I'm going to take a deep breath and step back, step outside of it, and try to understand that that person is coming from where they are on their path in that moment. This is what I should have done before making my video about cultural appropriation. I should have understood my own reaction. I should have had compassion for myself and for this very earthly human reaction of pain that I had, which manifested in anger. And I should have been able to look at the source of where this hurt came from and have compassion and understand that that person, those people, and honestly, I didn't have I took it as an umbrella group as well. There were a couple voices that sparked it, but I knew there was a larger group that I couldn't put faces and names to. But I should have sat back and had compassion and understood that they are where they are in their journey. And that it really isn't about me. It's about them from their perspective. And that I shouldn't have taken it personally, and I shouldn't have gotten offended and hurt and angry. I'm going to try to hold compassion for myself and all others through the month of September. And I'm going to try to hold it firmly within my heart and in my conscious mind. But in my heart's knowing that we are all on our own paths and that we all have our own obstacles to overcome and our own experiences to grow from and to learn from, and our own hang-ups for whatever reason. There's so many layers to this existence from where I sit. How many lifetimes? What karmic debris is there? What issues just from this lifetime are there? We each have our triggers. We each have our pains and, excuse the expression, but our crosses to bear. And I'm going to use this month, that Kellyanne has provided so generously as a time to remember this, to honor it. We are all flawed. We all have our hurts and our wounds, and they cause us to act and react in ways that aren't even necessarily rational and may not be understandable. So maybe the person who's lashing out and saying that it's wrong to be a consumerist witch, maybe that is manifesting in that way, but it comes from a different wound and a different source. Maybe that person that is screaming out that having a witchy aesthetic without the substance that they deem appropriate is fake and inappropriate. Maybe that is coming from somewhere else, and that's just how it manifests. I'm talking about self-love on a larger scale. I'm talking about the compassion for myself and for others, because we are one from where I sit. We are part of a whole bigger thing, bigger experience, bigger manifestation, bigger idea. And so I'm kind of using the term not only for myself as Drew, but myself as this pagan community, the part of that self, because I feel like part of that group. And I will be doing my best to love each and every member of this community as I love myself, as though they are myself. I mean, I've made videos about this before. I've done a lot of work on myself, because again, my path is for self-mastery. And so I really do love myself a lot. Flaws and all. Like, I accept it. For the most part, I really do. So this is how I'm going to work on Self-Love September. Because I was kind of struggling. I wanted to be a part of it, because I feel like, again, this collective consciousness, we're all working on this together. And it can only be of benefit. Getting right with yourself can only benefit everyone around you. And I really wanted to take part in this somehow, both just in my personal life and practice and also in video form. But I didn't really know how. I didn't really know how to do it. But I think this is how I'm going to do it. Instead of every time I see these videos or comments or whatever being made of judgment or of reaction to a feeling of being judged, I'm just going to sit and create this energy in this space of compassion and share love with myself and with everyone involved. I'll probably incorporate Sith. I have a video about that if you're interested. Self-identity through Ho'oponopono. It's a clearing exercise. It's a healing exercise. And maybe I'll throw some platinum Reiki up in there too. I don't know, but I'm really going to, because I don't feel that anybody's journey of self-love is ever over, and I certainly have areas I can grow, but I really feel called to work on self-love from a higher perspective this September, and that's what I'm going to do. And this video is very rambly, and I don't know if it makes sense to anyone. I'm not asking anyone to join me in what I'm doing. I mean, if you want to, feel free, but and I'm just trying to fill this community that I adore with some love and compassion. Again, I don't know if this looks coherent in any way. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Kellyanne Maddox, for creating this space for all of us. I'm going to say namaste. For those of you who don't know what that means, basically, the spirit within me, the spark of divinity within me, sees the spark of divinity within you. I recognize it. Happy Self-Love September. Thanks for listening, guys, and until next time, much love and gratitude.